Alright guys, welcome. We're going to start things off just a little differently this time, real quick. There is one minor fix to the video review, and I'm putting it here in the front so nobody misses it. And then we'll start the review proper. It'll seem a little weird, but I figured sticking this here in the front would be better overall. In the video, I mentioned in vehicle mode, like my one complaint is there's a little gap up here by the front. And I thought maybe I had solved it the other day, and then it was back in the video, and it turns out I did in fact solve it the other day. And what I forgot to point out in the video, I mentioned the step to collapse the hood when you get to robot mode, and I realized in my haste to turn him into car mode to start shooting the video review here at work tonight, I had forgotten to re-expand it in vehicle mode. So in the video you'll see me mention a gap up here, and that is because before these panels come in, before you close everything up, the hood piece actually you see it collapses in like that for robot mode, which isn't a huge difference, but it does make a difference when you get to fold everything in. So when you're going, so just notice that I mentioned expand the hood when I get to robot mode, but that hood just slides out just a little bit on each side, and that's what causes that gap if you don't have that expanded out in vehicle mode. So again, my mistake. I was, like I said, I was in a hurry to start shooting, and in my haste, he stays in robot mode most of the time, and I kind of haphazardly and hurriedly turned him into vehicle mode for the video review. And what I forgot to do when turning him back into vehicle mode was to collapse that hood, or to expand the hood. And like I said, I show you how to collapse it because one piece had come loose in the transformation in the video. So yeah, there's the correction, and I just wanted, like I said, I wanted to get that out in the front this time, so I didn't get a whole bunch of people telling me what I did wrong when they hadn't watched to the end of the video. Anyway, couple of those here, and I quite like him. So let's get on to the video review proper. Alright, here is a video review for, I know, one I've been waiting for, and I know some other people have been looking forward to since they announced it. This is MakeToys CUPOLA, or Chrome Dome, as you can see. And he's good in car mode. He comes packaged in, let me pull this box, comes packaged in robot mode in a vertical box with some nice metallic highlighting in it. There's a clamshell inside. There's a plastic clamshell inside. There's the back, showing off the different poses. Clamshell inside with the instructions and a little bio card. But here he is in vehicle mode. And he's nice. He rolls really smoothly. Like, he's got a really nice smooth action. And part of that's because he does have rubber tires down here on his chromed rims. See, they're very, very nice, and they give him a nice smooth roll on the surface. Now, here he is underneath, and you can see a lot of his legs here. And somebody complained that he looked like he was probably just a oh, I forgot to tap a couple things in here. Like a fold-in-half transformer, and it really is a lot more than that, and we'll show that off in just a moment. I forgot to tap these pieces in before I started the video review. There we go. Yeah, here he is in vehicle mode. Now, one of the things, like my one minor complaint about vehicle mode is that these panels right here, there's a little tab that's supposed to slot up in here and hold everything in place, and they sit just a little far forward. There's a slight gap in between the ridges here. It's nothing major. It's not anything that even really annoys me, and it's not even really noticeable when you're rolling them around in car mode. But just so you know, it is there. That may just be something on my copy. I don't know. It's not a huge annoyance, but like if I had to find anything to nitpick about in vehicle mode, that's the one minor complaint I have. I mean, just as a quick comparison, here he is in vehicle mode with his G1 self. So you can see he's much larger right off the bat. But the color match is really good. You can see there's a slight yellowness to the cream on him that there isn't on here, but this is an old vintage toy. That may just be due to age. Like, unless I can travel back to 1989 or 88 or whenever and pick up a vintage Chrome Dome, probably not going to happen. So, but yeah, really nice color match on the figure itself. The guns do pop off just like that, and then you just flip those down for the robot mode handles. And then we'll set those off to the side. The canopy does open, and inside you'll see his headmaster with room for another one. It's got a 2-seater there inside the canopy. And I'll go ahead and pop Styler out here off of the G1 version so we can compare those guys. Actually, you could have him sit inside there too. G1 headmasters fit. Double Stylor is cruising in, I was going to say style, but that seems kind of redundant. But anyway, so yeah, and he just sits right in there. And split his legs apart. And here's Stylor, just a little figure himself. And it's really cool because like he still has kind of a robot face on his back, but it does hide the eyes, much like the Fans Product version. And you'll notice like the headmaster seems very similar in design to the Fans Project version code. He does have a little bit more posability. He's got ball joints in the shoulders that allow them to swing forward and back and even kind of go out to the side a little bit. So there's a decent range of motion there. Swivel elbows. He's got ball jointed hips and swivel knees. I thought maybe his head might have articulation, but it does not. But yeah, and to transform him into head mode, you just bring his arms down, bring his legs out a little bit. You kind of pull him up here, you kind of ab crunch him like that, and that reveals the eyes here. And then his arms actually peg in to the sides of the head right here. Peg the legs together, and then they fold up like this. And the tops of the knees actually peg in to the shoulders here. Just like that. And then you've got a pretty cool looking chrome dome head. And we'll set that off to the side as well and get to the transformation on the main robot. To start off, we just you can leave the canopy open. Basically, the first thing you want to do is open the hood here. You can pull these, actually take this brown piece in the center, fold it down. That becomes his robot mode crotch. Fold these out, give him the hood room to open here. And this is the first little piece that, not the first little piece. This piece requires, this first little move requires a little bit of finagling because there's some tabs in here that tab everything together, as well as you can see this ridge right here on the front kind of tabs under this cream piece. So you kind of got to wiggle it out from under that. Once you get that going, everything else will start coming apart fairly easily. But see, there's tabs that go up into the hood and under here, and everything tabs together very securely. So you lift the hood up, and these pieces that were not tabbed in at the beginning of the video review, you want to flip those up and around like this. Those are going to fill in the sides of his abs here, or the sides of his chest when we get to robot mode. You can see his tech specs, which will again show off when we get to robot mode. And you unpeg these side pieces just a little bit. Take the gun holder and flip it up onto the canopy like that. And then you come back here, untab these. Oh, this one already came untabbed, but untab these from the hands. And then open up these pieces right here. You're going to push the arms up like this, and this frees up the whole canopy section up here. At which point you can bring these ab pieces right here, these side pieces down here. And this whole assembly is going to flip forward around the waist like that. And at this point, you can start working on his legs. You can untab this piece, fold this piece down, fold his foot up like that. Again, this piece, it tabs into the back here, so you kind of want to untab it, and then you rotate that down. Flip that foot panel up to form the bottom of his foot. This piece folds in half, and folds into the leg there, just like that. There's a little catch here. This little tab piece kind of catches on the small brown catch right up there. It's not a super sturdy connection, but it doesn't need to be. That stays in place pretty well. You'll start to see some die cast here. There's not a lot of it on the figure. He's mostly plastic, but you can see the knee joints here are die cast metal. This support strut right here with the tech specs on it is die cast. These little supports that the wheels swing around on here is die cast. And then these shoulder pieces up here are die cast as well. So it gives him some heft. I mean, he's already pretty hefty just in plastic, but the die cast on these little swing arms for these are also die cast. So you come up, bring this up. Actually, before you bring that up, you want to take these pieces and kind of swing them up into the body like this. Because as this piece comes around, unpeg the arms and swing them out and around like this. And then these brown pieces untab from the control console. And you can see there is some It's hard to see that. There we go. Fold this down. There is some console on the dash, the steering wheel, and a little like diode console over here. So this all comes around. Just want to leave this down for right now. And make sure these are wide enough for this to fit in. The spine piece comes down. Once you get back here, you fold these. Actually, I'm going to leave those open for right now. Right here, before you fold this all down, you need to rotate this piece around on that hinge. It's on an angled slot there. So you fold that around, and then you can collapse this gray piece in like that. And this comes down around and sits in the body. These pieces that we already folded up, fold up, and they actually peg in to the side here. There's a peg in the side of the spinal piece. They peg in like this and lock it in place. And again, lift that up and peg that into place here. Oh, we got caught on something over here. There we go. And then peg that into there. And then these pieces fold up, and there's a tab underneath here. Oh, this foot's in the way. Tab underneath here that pegs into the slots here on the back of these. So you fold these up and tab them in as well. And then you can swing this piece up and latch it in place. And then here the arms are going to peg in. The arms are a little tricky too, because you have to have these pieces folding up. These pieces also right here also tab into the side here. There's a tab here that tabs in there. So when you rotate this around, you want to tab that in as well. Oh, and collapse the hood. The hood collapses inwards. And then this piece, you fold that. This is actually the seat from car mode up here on top of his shoulder, but you fold that up. And this whole assembly, you kind of have to, again, it's another finagly piece, because this tab right here is going to fit in this slot in the, back here in the die cast. And then this die cast tabs into the slot of this piece we swung around. So you kind of fold that down and push it in, and you can get the arm up out of the way, but make sure everything tabs together. It's not a foolproof locking system. Every now and then, if you pull the shoulder the right way, sometimes that will come unlocked, but it's tabbed in here and under here, and it does hold pretty well. So yeah, fold this down over here, and again, you want to get that gray tab into like that kind of groove in the die cast, and you can lift the arm up at the ball joint here. You can see the hinge joint to make sure that that tab goes into this piece down here, and you can rotate that out a little bit if you need to get it all to tab together properly. And then once that's done, you just collapse the canopy down onto the back. Okay, I'm here in robot mode. That one's already halfway to transformation. We'll come up here to the upper body here. The tires, like I said, on these die cast arms swing up and around onto the hips, so they sit a little higher and further back on the hip parts, as well as they free up the thigh swivel there. Then it's just a matter of taking the arms, extending them all the way down, flipping his hand down and rotating it, his hand down and rotating it, and then you just take the headmaster and plug it right here on the top, and there he is in robot mode. Now the guns, like he does, like again, much like the way the headmaster feels, kind of like Fans Projects, he has the same type of connector up here. So you can, I'm going to have it the other way. You can turn it, you can turn his head side to side. You get some forward motion so he can look down. The reason I had it backwards is I generally like looking down is cool. It kind of makes him look like he's got a broken neck. But you can have him look down. I have usually the poses I have him in, I turn it around, and that gives him just the ability to look up slightly. And just I find that if you have him like a leaning forward action pose, that ability to look slightly up is more beneficial than having him get a much more wider range of motion going down. You can have it either way. That arm came unpegged. There we go. So yeah. The guns, like I said, he can hold them. He's got articulated fingers. It's all one piece on the fingers, but rather than fall prey to some of the figures I've played with lately where like they have articulated fingers and they aren't quite strong enough to hold their weapon, he doesn't have a 5mm peg. He has like a rectangle there, but the rectangle has, it's kind of hard to see, it has a slight groove down each side of the handle, and in the back of his hand he's got a little notch right up at the top of his hand. So when you can have him hold it normally, you can just put it in his hand and have him hold it with his fingers, and it's easy to slide out and he's capable of doing that. If you want to have a more secure pose, have him hold the rifle a little bit more securely, you can slide those grooves into that notch, and then even if you open his hand, it's not falling out. So that's a clever little, like I said, using those fingers lets him hold a wide variety of other weapons. But if you want him to lock his guns into his hand so they're not falling out all the time, you're not getting knocked out, there's that nice little groove to slide them into. If you fold it down, fold the handle down again, you can store the guns on his back in that same little holster that he had in vehicle mode. So yeah, posability is really nice. Like I said, we already showed off the head. His shoulders, they've got a ball joint down here that can move a little, give it a little forward and back motion as well. You can see they hinge up with a separate piece there. Again, reminiscent of some of the Fans Project Headmasters. And it gives him the full range of motion there. He does have a bicep swivel. He's got the hinge elbows. He does have a wrist swivel. He's got the head. He has a waist swivel. You may have to lift the canopy up and to get some wider movement in that, but he does have a waist swivel. He's got ratcheting thighs. Again, the wheels can kind of block it. If you want to get wider leg poses, you can fold the wheels down and get a couple extra clicks of articulation out that way. Like he has that aforementioned thigh swivel. He's got those ratcheting knees, those die cast bits. He does have a ball joint there down in the foot, as well as on this cap, so you can get a decent range of poses out of his feet as well. He's got forward and back and side to side. It's an amazing chrome dome. I will point out this is a repro label. That's one of the first things I did was stuck that on there. He was so good, and he just didn't seem right without his Autobot logo. But just a really great chrome dome. I'm a big fan of chrome dome from when I was a kid anyway. He was always one of my favorite headmasters. Him and Skullcruncher, I think, were my faves. And it doesn't hurt that James Roberts has given him a great character in More Than Meets the Eye currently. But yeah, I've always liked Chrome Dome. I always liked his car, and I've always liked Stylover and the Headmaster and everything. So yeah, having him is super cool. It really feels great. Like everything feels sturdy and solid. Like there's no real complaints I have with the figure itself. I will say, like, where this thigh ratchet meets, you can see as you move it back and forth, like at no point do I feel there's any danger from that ratchet or it getting stuck. But you'll notice it kind of gaps a little bit where that connection. So if you're gonna be moving his legs forward and back a lot, I recommend kind of putting your finger there, supporting that connection. I haven't seen any indication that anything bad is going to happen there, but it does have a little bit of give there and move as it transforms, and you just don't want to get this hung up, the upper part hung up on something and end up snapping that connection. I've seen no evidence that something like that is going to happen on him, but better safe than sorry. So yeah, here's a size comparison, and this is where it gets fun. There he is with G1 Chrome Dome. So you can see he's a much larger scale than the old G1 Headmasters. He's not like huge or anything, but he's a decent sized figure. Here he is with the current Voyager Brainstorm, his crewmate on the Lost Light. Since we have him here he is with Orion from Toy World, as well as Hegemon from Toy World. Here he is with the Perfect Effect Rewind down there by his feet. Little off scale-wise from the comics, but, just had him there. Here he is with Leader Magnus, which obviously is, he's not going to go on your comic shelf in scale with your other figures. And here he is, since, he's intended to kind of be a Masterpiece figure. Here he is with Masterpiece Optimus Prime. And I feel like that really shows you the scale. They're about the same height. Just get them on the same plane here. Let me turn that down. So yeah, they're about the same height, which again seems a little weird when you play with the old toys and everything. But in the Headmasters cartoon, that's about how big the Autobot Headmasters were. They were roughly the same height as Optimus Prime. So he might be slightly too big in that scale, but it's not an inaccurate portrayal of Chrome Dome to have him be that tall. And personally, like I said, I like Chrome Dome, so having him be a little bigger He's even a little bigger than I expected. I knew he was going to be bigger than Code or, you know, some of the previous versions of him. I wasn't expecting him to be quite as big as he is, and I have no problem with that. He's a great figure. He's a really nice, just a perfect... I can't imagine somebody putting out a better Chrome Dome. I just can't. He's really nice. Also, they don't move when you plug the Headmaster in, but like I said, those tech specs on the die-cast piece, if you flip open his chest, he does have that little tech spec readout there. So yeah, there is Fans Projects, or not Fans Projects. This is MakeToys, the remaster series. This is MTRM-01 CUPOLA from MakeToys. Excellent figure, totally worth nabbing if you have any sort of... If you like Headmasters, if you like Chrome Dome, you want this guy. He's really nice.